Let's see how to ping a Docker container from another Docker container. Let's start by creating a Docker container, and this container is going to be based on the Ubuntu image. And I'll also give a name to this container so I'll be able to easily recognize it. And I'll just call it ub1. Okay, so the container was created and we now see the shell of this container. Let's now find the IP address of this container. And to do that, I'll use the docker inspect command. Now the docker inspect command generates a lot of data, and we don't want most of this data. We only want the IP address of the container, so we can filter the output. If we were on a Linux machine, we could use the grep command, like so, but since I'm on Windows, I cannot use grep. But instead of it, I can use the select string command. And the string we're looking for from the data of the docker inspect command is IP address. And here's the IP address of the ub1 container. Let's now create a second Ubuntu container, and I'll call this one ub2. So we're now in the ub2 container, and from ub2 I want to ping ub1. So first let's install the ping utility on ub2. And now let's try to ping ub1 using its IP address. And we can see that it works just fine and we get a ping. Now the thing is that using the IP address of a container to ping it is not ideal. And that's because the container gets its IP address from a DHCP service. Getting your IP address from a DHCP service means that there is no way which IP you're going to end up with. And beyond that, this address can also change. So what we would want to do is use the name of the container to ping it instead of its IP address. But if we'll now try and ping ub1 using its name and not its IP address, it does not work and we don't get any ping. To fix that, we're going to connect both of the containers, ub1 and ub2, to the same network switch. So let's create a third tab in our terminal. And I'll use the docker network create to create a new network bridge. I'll call it net1, but of course you can use any name you want. And the network bridge was created. Let's now connect both of our containers to this bridge. So we first need to specify the network and then the container that will connect to this network. And let's do the same thing for our second container, ub2. And now both of our containers are connected to the net1 network. We can also use the inspect command for our new net1 network. And you can see that this is the gateway of the network, and here are all of the containers that belong to this network. And you can see that two containers belong to this network now. These are the two containers we connected to the network, and the first one is ub2, and also we have here ub1. And that's everything that's connected to this network. Let's now return to ub2 and let's retry to ping ub1. And this time it works and we do get a ping. By the way, we can also connect a container to a network as soon as it's created. So let's create a third container, ub3. But for this container, I'm also going to specify the network, which is of course going to be net1. Now this container is already connected to our network, net1. So if we try to ping it from ub2, we see that it works right away and we get a ping.